Hey guys, thanks for joining us to learn to play games. My name is Lance, and today we're going to take a look at the first expansion to the Dark Souls card game, Forbidden Paths. So in this expansion, it's going to introduce two new characters. We have the Pyromancer and the Thief class, as well as a lot of new encounter cards, treasure cards, enemy cards, and new bosses. There'll be 4 new bosses included in this, and then we have 2 new card types, terrain cards and trap cards, which are going to introduce all kinds of new things to the players. And I'm going to go through and teach you guys how to use those cards in your games and how they work, and then we'll take a look at the game in action as well. So of course, if you like these videos, if you like what I do, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to my channel, as it really does make a big difference and it helps me continue to grow and bring these videos to you guys. And if you want to stay up to date on all my videos, also consider ringing that bell so you get notifications anytime I release new content. So let's head to the table and I'll teach you guys how to play. So to start off, let's go ahead and take a look at all the new cards you're going to get in the game. So with Forgotten Paths, you're going to receive 2 new characters, the Thief and Pyromancer, with their own 28 card decks. Then you're going to have your 23 common treasure items and 10 transposed treasure cards. You'll also receive 8 new level 1 encounters, 10 new level 2s, and 5 level 3 encounters. And then same with the enemies. You're going to receive 10 level 1 enemies, 10 level 2 enemies, and 5 level 3 enemies. There's going to be 2 new cards introduced to the game, and I'm going to go over how these rules work a little bit more in the minute. But you have 10 terrain cards and 20 trap cards. Finally, you're going to get a brand new board that will cover the 4 different bosses, depending upon which ones you want to face, which we have the Bell Gargoyle, or Asylum Demon, or you can go up against the Great Grey Wolf or Moonlight Butterfly. Setup in the expansion works pretty much the same way. The only differences are, first, you're going to decide the board that you're going to be using, whether it's the expansion board or the core board, and then again, you're going to place out the 2 boss behavior decks out. Then, depending upon how you want to play, the encounter decks, again, you'll shuffle them up, either adding the expansion or not, or you can play with just the expansion decks. It's totally up to you. If you want a pure experience of the expansion, you can use just the expansion decks. For the encounter and the enemy decks. You also place out the treasure deck, and then the 2 new decks you're going to be placing out are the terrain cards and the trap cards. From there, we're ready to move into the game itself. So now it's time to go over the 2 new cards in the game, the terrain cards and trap cards. And as you guys can see here, on each encounter that you draw for the expansion, each of these encounters is going to have one of these 2 different types of new cards that are going to be shown in the bottom right hand corner of the image on that card, as you guys can see here. So the first one we're going to look at are the terrain cards. So with these cards, this is each time you draw a new encounter, then you're going to draw 1 terrain card if that encounter says so. So each time you draw an encounter that shows a terrain symbol on it, you're going to draw the top card of the terrain deck. And this will apply to this encounter for the rest of the game. It will not be replaced after you complete this encounter. So in this first example, let's take a look at the bog. So it says, during this encounter, whenever a character moves during its activation, the character must spend an additional point of stamina of any type to do so. And that's basically how the terrain are going to work for the most part. Most of the cards are going to cause you to spend an additional point of stamina to do something, whether it's an attack or taking a shot, moving or defending. There's a number of different terrain features, but all of them are basically going to have you spending additional stamina to do something during your turn. Moving over to our trap cards now, let's go ahead and say, for example, that we drew this encounter, which is going to have us place 2 traps. So for this, we're going to use the enemy deck as well. And again, this is going to be just for placement of the traps. You will not be placing these enemies out, and you'll resolve enemy placement afterwards. So and again, also for character placement. So we're going to place 2 traps on our board. So we're going to go ahead and start off with the first one, and we're just looking at where the character or the enemy is going to attack. So they're attacking this space. So we'll place 1 trap card out on that space face down. And then we need a second one here, so we'll reveal another one. All right, and so this guy is going to attack this space. Now, if, for example, you drew an enemy card that has multiple attacking spaces, such as this card here, you would simply discard the card and draw another card until you have another enemy card that only has a single space attack. From there, then we would place out our characters in any space that we want to. Again, they could choose to be placed right on top of the trap, which in case that trap is revealed and resolved immediately. Now, at the end of the encounter, if there are traps remaining out on the board, then you can go ahead and clear your characters first and then place any of those traps that you have on that board back onto the enemy board. So, for example, with this one, let's go ahead and say that neither one of our traps were triggered, and so we'll place them back out underneath our enemy board. And that goes the same for encounters. So, say for example, we had an encounter that was affecting this one, so we can go ahead and place that back out on that space. So that way, anytime we do this encounter, it's going to have that train feature attached to it. Now I'm going to show you guys a game in action, and with this I'm just using the expansion material, so I have not included anything from the base game except for the stuff that we need to run the game. So I've gone ahead and chosen to play the Pyromancer and the Thief, and so we're ready to move into the first encounter. So we're going to choose our location we want to go. So we're going to go and try an easy one with a level 1 encounter. So we'll flip over the top card, and we have the Undead Cell. This one is going to, for 2 players, is going to provide us with 2 basic enemies, and will get us 1 treasure at the end if we're able to accomplish it. So first off, we're going to check in the corner here, and so it's going to provide 2 traps, so we're going to go ahead and populate those first. And so our first trap will go in this location here, and then our second trap will go right behind it in that second location. That is our 2 traps that are out. These will be added back into the encounter or the enemy deck, and then we'll go ahead and place our characters where we want to go. So my Thief I'm going to put here, and the Pyromancer I'll put over here. Then we're going to add our enemies, so we get 2 enemies. So our first one is going to go back here, and our second one is going to go over here. And this first one here has a special thing with is Pounce. So unblocked damage from this card must be applied to the character's hand unless the hand is empty. So good to know. Then we are going to go ahead and proceed with the round. So this first enemy is going to go ahead and attack, and so he's going to attack this back location, and there's nobody there, so then he's going to go with the back row, and so the Pyromancer is going to take that hit. So let's see if the Pyromancer has any defense stuff, and it's going to do 3 damage. So he does have his Pyromancer Garb, and that's going to block 3 since we discarded it. And then we'll move on to the second enemy, who again is going to target this back row. And again, nobody's there, so then it'll move over, and the Pyromancer will take that one as well. And that's going to do 3 damage. And so he's going to go ahead and he'll go ahead and play this and do the shield to block 2, and then he's just going to go ahead and discard the shield for his 3rd point. Then the enemy's turn is over, so we're going to draw back up for both of our characters, and our Thief didn't use anything, and so we're ready to move into our character's turn. So our Pyromancer here has some Pyromancy Flame abilities, so he's going to move over and get ready to do his turn on against our enemy there. And the enemy has 2 health and 1 defense, so he's going to go ahead and do this one that's going to let him do 2 damage, and he will use the 2 stamina that are required to do that. And so he's going to do 2 damage and eliminate this enemy, which is going to provide 3 souls to our loot pile. And then our Thief over here is going to go ahead and move over and resolve this trap. So let's see what we found. Oh, lucky escape, no effect. All right, so cool there. And then let's see if he has anything to attack this guy. So he unfortunately doesn't have the one that he needs for the enemy's weakness. He has the Bandit Knife, so he could go ahead and do that one if he wanted to. This guy has 1 shield and 2 health. And let's see, he does have the requirements to do so. So he's going to go ahead and do that. And he'll use this one. So he'll do 2 damage. That guy's going to block 1 point with his shield. So only 1 point will get through. And then he'll get this card back and then replenish his hand. 1, 2, 3. All right. And then our Pyromancer has got 3 cards, so he'll draw back up. And we're ready to move back into the enemy's turn. So again, he's going to attack, and it'll be that Pyromancer that's going to take the hit. So he's going to go ahead and do... He picked up another shield, so he'll go ahead and do that and get that back. And that'll stop 2. And then he's going to go ahead and use another one of his stamina for that hit. Then he'll draw back up, since that's the end of the enemy's turn, and move back in. So our character over here, he doesn't have what he needs. He has a lot of blue stamina, but he doesn't have any purple to activate that knife again. So he's going to go ahead and discard 2 of those cards and redraw. And we got 2 more blue ones, so definitely not going to help us this turn for that. So that's pretty much all he can do. So we're going to move back into the enemy's turn. It's going to hit that Pyromancer again, so he'll again discard that 1 for the shield and get that shield back, and then discard a second one. Let's see, let's take it just off the top. That could have been useful. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. So he'll draw back up to his hand. And we'll move back into the Thief and Pyromancer's turn. So again, he's going to go ahead and try for 2. And still no luck with that. He picked up 2 more stamina. So again, he is done with his turn. So we'll move back into the enemy's turn to go again. Our Pyromancer will go ahead and take the hit. 1 with the shield, and then another one for the total of 3 points. And again, he'll draw 2. And then it's back into our turn. So our Thief will try 1 more time. He's going to go ahead and discard 2 more. All right, he got a bow. All right, that'll work. So he's going to go ahead and use the 1 just to do 1 damage. So he's going to need 2 stamina there. And the bow will come back to his hands, and he does 1 damage. So that will eliminate that enemy. And that one gives us 3 souls as well. And then since we cleared the encounter, we'll receive 1 treasure. And that will go to our loot, so that's not completely safe yet. And both of our characters, 3, 6, 9, kind of iffy if we should push it or not, but let's go ahead and risk it. We're going to go ahead and go to the next encounter. So in order to complete this encounter, we'll move this trap, the trap card underneath the encounter and place it over here. And then we'll place a cleared marker. And then we're going to go and try this one here. So again, we will clear our player boards here as well, and we'll flip over the next encounter, which is the Haunted Wood, and this one is going to provide us with a train feature instead. So we have the Sweltering Heat. So during this encounter, whenever a character blocks, that character must spend an additional stamina. So not good on our Pyromancer per se. And then with the 2 enemies, we're going to get 2 basic guys again. So our first one here is a undead attack dog, and it's linked, so it's going to have the other attack dog in there as well. So that's not so good because we have 3 enemies then. And we have another attack dog. So again, with this one, it'll go to the next space over. And then we also have to pull out the big attack dog, who is going to go in the back row here. Well, and our characters I should have put our characters out first. I skipped that step. So we'll go ahead and just put them out in the middle, and that'll work out. So then we're ready to move into the encounter. So our first dog here will attack and do 3 damage to our Thief, who is in that spot. So our Thief, I have to draw back up. We'll go through and see what he has. Unfortunately, he does have the armor, but he doesn't have that extra stamina due to the Sweltering Heat. So he's just going to have to take 3 damage. And so he'll go ahead and drop the armor. He's going to go ahead and drop the bow, and then he'll take 1 from the top. And then we'll move on to the next dog that's going to hit him. So again, he doesn't have the stamina, so he's going to take 3 off the top for that one. Oof. And then the large dog's going to go, and it will target this first spot here, which there aren't anybody, so then the Thief is going to take that as well. So he's going to become poisoned. And 3 damage. So he'll go ahead and drop the shield and 2 more off the top. So the Thief took 9 hits that time. That's pretty bad. All right, so then we're ready to move into their turn. So the Thief will draw back up. Well, the bandit's knife that he has is going to require a fair amount of stamina to do. We got to be careful. We're running low on stamina here. So he will go ahead and He'll go ahead and spend 1 stamina and discard this to poison the dog. And that will require him to draw back up to his 2 at the end of his turn, so we have to be real careful there. And then for our Pyromancer, he's going to move over and use his Pyromancy Flame. And he'll go ahead and do that. He's just going to do the 1 point of damage because it's going to hit. This attack is going to hit every enemy in a column that he's attacking. And so he's spent those, and he'll get to keep this in his hand. That's going to do 1 damage to both of these guys. And he's going to go ahead and flip over his card because we're going to be resting after this. And that's going to add 2 to the attack as well, to a single enemy. So he's going to target that large dog in the back. So both of these guys will go down and be put over there. And so we're going to get 4 souls for them. And so place that there. And then our thief is going to move back for his action. And then our Pyromancer will draw back up. So at this point, the dog will attack. There's nothing in the column, so it's going to move to the next column. The player at the highest threat will take the hit. So it'll be our Pyromancer that will take the hit. And he will go ahead, and he doesn't have anything either, so he's going to just go ahead and discard down. There's 2 and 3. And that will end his turn, so we'll draw back up. And so he's still got a little bit to work with here. So he's going to go ahead and switch positions with our thief, and our thief is poisoned. I forgot about the poison, so unfortunately our thief doesn't have anything to draw back up. And so that at the end of his activation, he'd have to take an additional wound. He has nothing to draw, so we have failed that encounter. We were really close as well because the dog would have gone down instead at the end of this turn. But that'll give you guys a good idea of how this works. So as always, if you enjoy these videos, if you like what I do, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to my channel. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please leave those in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to answer them as well. Or swing by my Facebook and Twitter accounts. Let me know what you guys are playing or doing there as well. I'd love to hear from you guys. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.